Hello and welcome to the after show for TTToTTT, which we all know is the topic tournament of 2023 after an intense week of furious voting. The bracket got smaller and smaller and smaller until it has finally reached a victor. And right now, I'm going to bring in our community manager, Emma Logsdon, to talk about this with me. Hello, Emma.
Hello, Patrick.
How do you feel about how the past week went?
It was very fun. I don't know. I feel like everyone's been a pretty good sport throughout this whole thing too, which has been nice.
They have. Yeah, it's been really good to see.
Yeah. My
Um,
condolences to the Godzilla fans and the
I
gore
know.
heads.
I did feel a little bit bad about that. I'm also realizing that right now I need to get in the graphic for our champion,
Oh,
which I will have in a
it's in the
second.
Dropbox. Yeah, just gotta
Yeah.
convert
Oh,
it to a PDF.
that's what I was just doing right
Yeah.
now. I realize everyone knows who won at this point, but I wanna
Mhm.
do, like, a proper,
Yeah.
you know, like, reveal of it. Okay, do we have it in here? And it's processing. Hold tight, everybody. You'd never guess what it's gonna be. I would like to offer a big congratulations to the champion of the first and maybe only ever Topic Tournament 2023. Well,
Well,
obviously,
it's
the only
definitely
one.
the only one of 2023.
Yeah. Oh god, well, if we
We
do
might
one
have a
next year,
TTTOTTF.
that it's not symmetrical.
No, it's terrible. We
Anyway,
can't do it. No palindrome.
who knows what'll be happening a year from now, but for now, I just wanna say congratulations to Muppet Cinema.
Woo!
You did it. The Muppets win. It's time to start the music. It's time to light the lights. Those are the lyrics, right?
I
Why
I
am I
really
asking you?
wouldn't know.
Anyway, the Muppets. This means that by the end of the year, I have to make a video talking about Muppet cinema.
Woo!
Emma, how do you feel about this?
I love these little guys. I mean, as you could maybe guess, I haven't really seen many Muppet media, but I think these guys look really cool, so I'm happy about it. I like Gonzo a lot.
What if Gonzo becomes your new guy?
Well, I will say it wouldn't be new per se because the Inception fandom has like a running gag that if you want to figure out how Eames dresses, you can just look at Gonzo and they dress the same.
So you're saying Gonzo is the Tom Hardy of the Muppets?
Absolutely.
Obviously. What a stupid question, Patrick.
I've actually said this before. I'm not even joking.
So but then the question is, why have you not watched every movie that Gonzo is in?
Well, I haven't seen every Tom Hardy movie.
How many movies have you seen with Gonzo in them?
Possibly one.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
If he's the Tom
Well,
Hardy of
I
them.
I will now see Muppet movies. Now that they've won the TTTOTTT.
Exactly. Well, also to be clear to everyone, um, Emma's never required to watch movies
No.
that are like being discussed in the videos. This I do not. This to be clear, a lot of the people who work on the channel don't. I can tell you, Mike never watches any of these things. He never knows what I'm talking about. Um, but yeah, there's no requirement that like, well, here's the topic, here's your
Yeah.
homework.
I just enjoy it.
I mean,
I actually
Muppets are
watched
good.
Top Gun just for the 80s video, and you
That's a
can quote
lie.
me on that.
That is such a lie. I mean, you probably watched it 3 times while in the month I was working
Oh,
on it for you.
absolutely. Completely unrelated, but yes.
Yes.
And if you had done the Lego sequels video, I would have been like, "Wow, Patrick, I've been studying so hard for the Lego sequels video
Specifically one movie.
by watching a Lego sequel several times."
If only Val was in more.
I know. That's what I'm saying. They need to. Well, would you say Willow is kind of a Lego sequel? like the
Well,
TV
the
series.
new TV series is definitely a legacy sequel.
Yeah, he's not in it, but he might be in season 2. It didn't win. We shouldn't be getting into this. My
No,
apologies to your
uh,
audience.
but right now I wanna go through
Mhm,
the various matchups over the past week and how it went, because we did one of these videos at the beginning. Um,
mhm.
when one sec, we're gonna get big. Brace yourselves, everyone. Ah,
Woah.
I know. If you're watching this on a big TV, that is
Yeah.
jarring.
Sadat
Um,
sent me a video of
oh,
us getting yeah, and you go,
he did this to me
"Ah!"
too.
It
Yeah.
was really good. I showed my parents.
And I was just like, when he sent me that, I was like, it never occurred to me that anyone would watch this on a 65-inch
Yeah.
TV. I'm like, I also don't even watch YouTube on my TV, which I know a lot of people do.
Mhm.
I only watch YouTube on like an iPad. Uh,
Wow.
yeah,
Is that the medium for which it was intended?
maybe I don't
The
know. It's a thing. Like anytime people
What
like,
would Chris Nolan say
well,
to you
Chris Nolan would
watching
would not
these?
make YouTube videos.
That's true.
Yeah. That is the thing. Chris Nolan only makes movies to be watched in an IMAX theater. That's it.
Mhm,
But yeah, so at the beginning of this whole thing, after we had gotten all the 200 submissions and then narrowed it down to the top 16, we discussed the Pat Kit,
mhm.
the Patrick Brackett, which is a great name that I think Emma you put on there as a joke, and then I
I
said no, we're
did.
keeping it.
We were, like, proposing ideas, and I was like, "Patrick, what if we called it the Pat Kit?" As a joke, and you were like, "Well, that could work."
Yeah, it's not even a pun. It doesn't rhyme. Like it's
I every time I propose ideas to Patrick, I try to make at least one of them be a Patrick pun, or not pun, just I try and smash the word Patrick into somewhere. My favorite being Statrix. That one has anyway, Pat Kit
yeah.
means nothing.
We also I can't reveal this because this is like confidential information, behind the scenes stuff. But
Mhm.
we do have a whole spreadsheet of various ideas Emma has pitched that we haven't implemented yet, but are like
I think we're
keeping
gonna make PatCon happen.
PatCon could happen. Because famously, like online like video creators starting their own conventions
It's
has
always
always
gone great.
it has a great track record, and I think let's just keep it going.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, so here's the Pat Kit, and then we did 2 matchups a day,
Mhm.
and it has now ended. And I just want to like go through these and talk about how it went, because I will say, Emma, from the beginning, did you have a prediction about who would win it all?
Muppets.
You really thought Muppets?
Yeah. I was pretty sure it'd be Muppets or Godzilla, but they were both on the same side, so
Yeah, I when
I
I
was surprised how far legal dramas went.
I'm not surprised about that. I thought that might do well. So when I seeded this, I don't know if I explained this
Mhm.
in the first video. My seeding was kind of it I did it in a weird way. Like when I ranked them all, I kind of ranked them in a mix of both like how like which ones I thought would do the best, and
Mhm.
also the ones I was most interested in making. So, which I don't aren't really the same thing. But and I genuinely thought Godzilla was that was my number 1 seed.
Mhm.
And that was entirely based on Godzilla being one of maybe the most commonly requested
Mhm.
topic over the years. It came up so much that I was like, so many people have like requested this that it probably has the biggest support there. And then, for instance, like Gore Verbinski, I seated really high because famously, whenever he would be in the blank check March Madness,
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
um, he would never win, but would always do well and had like a very big like like
Aggressive fan base.
had an aggressive fan base. Because
Yeah.
and I'll
Didn't
be
they
the
have,
first
like,
to
botting?
yes, that's why Blank Check took their March Madness voting off of Twitter because
Mhm.
people would make I think it was 2021 when people made bots and they were like, we can't do it like this
Yeah.
anymore." Yeah, and I think Yeah, especially like people who were going for gore got really intense, and I
Mhm.
did fully like stump for gore when he was in because like what was
Yeah.
it in yeah for Blank Check in 2020 that was the year that I was
Mm.
going really hard for Zemeckis and Bay, the guys that I've
Mm.
done videos on, and I was really pulling for like a final Zemeckis Bay match, like
Yeah.
matchup in the finals. It came close. Anyway, Zemeckis
I gotta
won.
start campaigning for 90s Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone was in their bracket a couple years ago.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think. Um, yeah, I think it was 2021, the year of gore. I think Oliver Stone lost really quickly.
I
Um,
mean, as I've seen 2 Oliver Stone movies, I can't say either of them were very good.
wait, The Doors and
Alexander,
oh,
the final cut,
well, wait, isn't The Doors
the
now
three and a
basically
half
what?
hour.
Don't you pretty much love The Doors now because you've watched it so
No,
many
I
times?
like The Door. But when I'm showing it to someone, I can't be like, "Yeah, let's watch a good movie, The Doors." Like, I can be like, "Let's watch a movie I like, The Doors." I've reached a
True.
point where I can say that. I'm going to name my cat Mr. Mojo Rising. But
What a turn this has taken.
I
I will
know.
say, you have not seen any
The
of the
good
movies that are
ones.
usually considered among Oliver Stone's best movies.
And
In
to
fact,
be honest, I'm not sure I will. We'll see.
you should.
Spielberg's coming first.
Exactly. And just so everyone knows, because we had our big Spielberg revelation and discussion last time. Big news, everybody. On Sunday, Emma and I are going to see The Fablemans.
There's someone on Twitter who is like, it's a travesty to see the Fablemans unless you've seen like his all of his earlier works. And I was like, buddy, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm not seeing all of Spielberg's films before Sunday. Do you know how many
Also,
Doors watches I have to get in before then?
yeah, also this person is wrong. It's not like
Mhm.
Fablemans is full of like winking references to like, oh
I'm gonna
man,
miss all the Easter eggs, Patrick.
right, in this one scene when he's like a little kid, he's playing with a toy shark, and that foreshadows that one day that kid will make Jaws. No, it's not that kind of movie. It's no, it totally works on its own, even if
Mhm.
you
I would
don't
argue
know.
that if it didn't work on its own, it would be a bad movie.
Yes, it would. If it were just winking Easter eggs to be like, haha,
That's
here's
just
the
Ready Player One, right?
right. Yeah, pretty much. And he made that already.
Yeah.
And yeah, no. I think that's a bad
Yeah.
take, and I'm excited to see The Fablemans
Can I
with
say
you.
one more thing? There were a lot of
Yeah, I
people
will allow it.
joking about Val Kilmer being in Jaws, and I just want to say for everybody who hasn't seen Val 2021, they do have a home video called Teeth that was made by Wes, Mark, and Val Kilmer in like, I don't know, probably 1975 around. I don't know when Jaws was released, so that's a
75.
rough estimate. Okay, so probably 75 or 76. Wow, that was me guessing based on how old the kids looked. Um so he has been in Teeth. So you're not really wrong. He's been in a Jaws type movie.
And Emma, just think about how much more you'll appreciate that home video footage of them making teeth once you see Jaws.
Yeah, when I watched with my dad, he was like, "That's from Jaws." I was like, "Dad, it's called Teeth. I'm pretty sure it's a Jaws parody." He was like, "Oh, that makes sense."
Well, uh, Emma, you are on such a journey, and yes,
Yeah, I'm
you'll see.
excited.
I mean, you get to see some of the best, most
Yeah.
entertaining, wonderful movies ever made. It's like
Historically, I've enjoyed seeing good movies.
it's true. I mean, I remember when you like, you watched a lot of not great movies in your Val marathon, but
And my
you
Tom
also
Hardy one.
exactly. But then you got to see like Heat, and we're like,
Yeah.
oh damn, this is really good.
He was so good it made me stop watching Marvel movies, which made the entirety of Twitter start getting really mad at me.
The lesson here is never tweet.
Never tweet.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
back to the Pat kit.
Mhm.
So yeah, for instance, I knew Verbinski had a huge, support base, and I was thinking they might come out for this. Two different people submitted Verbinski just as a
Mhm.
topic. That's how big it was. And then, for instance, like some people thought it was weird that I put Muppets up against DC and Batman Beyond in the first round, and I was like, well, kind of for me, it's like I seeded the Batman Beyond one a bit
Mhm.
lower because I was like, I'll make it, but that to me seemed like a video that would be fun to make, but also one of the less interesting ones on there because it's basically
Yeah.
just like, okay, like it's doing the thing that I never do, which is just pitching like theoretical, hypothetical superhero movies.
Yeah.
And so that's why, that ended up there. One thing that I thought was really interesting was seeing how some topics that seem to have huge support on social media, once it came to the
Ernest.
earnest, once it came to the actual voting, it turned out, that was a vocal minority.
Can I say, I thought you guys made up Ernest as a bit in your videos.
The thing when Matt would keep talking about Ernest Goes to
Yeah.
Africa and why it's 100% not racist.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds like a kind of like the title of a movie I'd make up if I was trying to think of a movie that was definitely racist, but I was going to pretend it wasn't. I'd be like, yeah, like Ernest Goes to Africa.
And you didn't decide to Google it and be like, just to check.
No, when would I ever? I was so sure. Then Ernest came up here, and I was like, he's got a last name now. It's
Ernest
crazy.
P. Worrell. Okay, so let's go through these. So here's the final Pat Kit.
Mm-hmm.
So we had Godzilla versus Animals Playing Sports. Which was the like lowest seeded one.
Yeah,
And that went exactly how I expected.
he
Godzilla
smashed it.
just stomped all over it as
Yeah,
he does.
he shot an energy beam at it.
Exactly. And right in that first round, I was like, yeah, man, Godzilla's looking strong. And then on the other side, honestly, this was the most exciting matchup of the whole thing for me, and it was in the first
Mm-hmm.
round.
Yeah.
It was playing cinematic video games versus the recent renaissance of big budget musicals. And that ended still with Patreon saying 50-50. I had to download the spreadsheet of the results
Wow.
and add them up to discover that it was that video games won
Mm-hmm.
308 to 303.
Wow. Also, side note, I mean, I'm sure he makes great videos. All my friends really love Jacob Geller, I
He's
think.
great.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have to see more of his stuff, but yeah, I was like, yeah, this one's submitted by Jacob, and they were like, Jacob Geller. So that was exciting for my friends.
I know. Also, I will say, so Jacob was the only other video creator
Mm.
who had a topic on the list, and I will
Mhm.
say, shout out to him for not putting
Yeah.
his finger on the scale and being like, "Hey, my fans, go vote for this," because I think he definitely could have
Yeah.
influenced
We
this.
were averaging like 500, 600 votes per round.
Oh, wait,
So
I think it was basically 600 every single round.
yeah, so he really could have put his finger on the scale.
But he didn't. And I will say I was a little bit surprised because with the video games one, I mean, both of these I would have been totally happy to do. The musicals one, because I decided with that, my interpretation of the topic was the 21st century revival of musicals, basically from Moulin
Mhm.
Rouge onward. Because the 90s is basically a dead zone when it comes to musicals. Uh there's Evita, the Alan Parker one with Madonna, and then what is it? Everyone Says I Love You, the weird Woody Allen one, and there's basically almost nothing. Oh, and Disney movies, obviously, and
Mhm.
other animated movies. But in terms of
And
live action,
musical biopics with lots of music in them, such as sorry.
Emma. But in terms of traditional musicals, there's basically nothing. But then in the 21st century, there's been this whole revival.
Mhm.
And I was thinking that would be a fun topic to do it about. And the video games one, I really thought video games was going to be a stronger contender because I didn't think it would just lose in the second round. Although clearly Lego sequels were just stomping all over
Took it all
everything.
away. Yeah.
And I mean, the Lego sequels were like an F-18.
They felt the need. The
The
need
Need for
for
Speed.
speed.
Yeah, they were just, they were hitting Mach 10.
Yeah, they were feeling the Tron, the legacy. I haven't seen Tron regular. Sorry, that one. I was like, I'll figure something out as I say it.
Wait, you say you haven't seen Tron Regular? Have you seen Tron Legacy?
Yeah, in
You have?
theaters. Yeah, I don't know. It was in theaters. It had cool colors. I saw it. I think my dad wanted to see it.
Wow, because Tron Legacy also wasn't it like did okay financially, but
Yeah, I
it
liked it.
it's well, hey, Joseph Kosinski's first movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Joseph Kosinski has made 2 Lego sequels,
Yeah.
and he's only made 5 movie wait, yeah, 5 2 of his 5 movies are Lego sequels. Yeah, wait, because it's Tron Legacy, Oblivion, Only the Brave, Top Gun Maverick, Spiderhead. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, he's like kind of the Lego sequel king in a way.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, I'm just surprised you saw Tron Legacy. And that
Yeah.
also here we'll talk more about Lego sequels in a minute. But I thought video games was gonna be one of the top contenders because obviously video games in general are incredibly popular, especially on YouTube, and they're a thing that I never talk about. And I thought people would be excited to be like, oh, here's our chance to get Patrick to talk about a thing that he will otherwise never cover, and a
I
thing
will
that
say, it
people
is
like a
fun to
lot.
hear you talk about your yearly video game playing. You're like, "Yeah, I'm going back for Christmas. I'm going to play my video game,"
Yep.
singular.
Yep. The thing is, so if people want updates on that, a year ago, Christmas 2021, I got Metroid Dread for Christmas for the Nintendo Switch, and I played a bunch of it, and I didn't touch it for a year. And then I resumed my game this past Christmas, and I'm pretty close to the end of the game. And honestly, I should probably just find like a few hours at some point to finish it because I'm very close to the end. And also now that I've like remembered how the controls work and everything. Anyway, but like I thought the video games one would be a fun topic and
Yeah.
that people would want to see. And then it pretty much tied with musicals. And so I was like, ooh, this might not have like the big support that I thought it would. Then on the other side, and also in round 1, we had Krzysztof Kieślowski's Three Colors trilogy versus surprise cameos. Surprise cameos was also one of my lowest seeded ones because I'm like, I mean, like, it could be a fun video, but also like, I don't know how much there is to say. It didn't seem like an especially exciting one to me. And
Yeah.
then people were just like, oh, hell yeah, cameos. And also, I mean, here's the thing about these votes. I realized that the Three Colors trilogy they are European art house movies from the 90s that I had not even seen until this past summer. And so most people voting have not seen those movies. If I were voting, even as someone who hadn't seen them, I'd probably be like, ooh, yeah, I haven't seen these, but that would be interesting to, cover more like art house stuff. And maybe then it would motivate me to watch the movies. That's how I would vote. But people like, if we're
I
being
voted
honest,
for it.
hey,
Yeah.
and you haven't seen those movies.
No. But you sent me the stills of it for the graphics when I made them, and they were very beautiful.
The
So,
movies look really good. They're really nice looking movies. Hey, the first movie, has the same cinematographer as Black Hawk Down, a movie with Tom Hardy.
it also has several other people in it. There are other movies that I'd be like, whoa, really? With this one, I can't say I saw and remember a lot of that movie, if I'm honest. I remember the first, quarter. And then I was like, oh God, I hate this. I'm so sorry. And I got really drunk.
Well, it's a good looking movie. If nothing
Yeah.
else, it looks great, as Ridley Scott movies always do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, but like people for these things are generally going to vote for the things they're familiar with and have
Mhm.
seen.
I
And
probably
so
shouldn't have
I'm
put, like, Tom Cruise and Austin Powers on there.
this was also a thing. When I was sending you images to use for the graphics, I did have the thought after this round when I was like, "Oh, man, we have Cruise on multiple things. Is he just so powerful that he?"
Yeah, also to the person on Reddit who was like, "Please stop this uncritical championing of Tom Cruise." This was just he happened to be in many of these topics. I don't think either Patrick nor I are Scientology supporters. So
I mean, I will say, I do fairly uncritically champion Tom Cruise because I do think he is our greatest living movie star.
mhm.
And here, I'll address that one guy on Reddit who was mad about this. This is only my perspective. Here's the thing. I'm not saying that you always need to separate the art from the artist with every case, because I don't think that is always the case. I think, especially when dealing with like Hollywood and stuff like this, to watch almost any movie, or to watch movies in general, you are always going to be confronted with the thing of like, oh, there are you know, morally objectionable aspects or
Mhm,
people involved in so many things that everyone needs to figure out their own like lines for things, what
mhm,
they're cool with, what they can put aside, what they can reconcile, what they're not cool with and are not going to watch. You run into that so often, and I have decided that I am okay watching movies uh with Tom Cruise in them, and I'm a big fan of these movies. And despite the fact that I think Scientology is bad, and this is something that I personally
mhm,
live with, and I'm aware of this contradiction, and I accept it. I would love it if he left that organization, an organization that I do think basically brainwashed him at a vulnerable time in his life. And but that's my that yeah, that you know
mhm,
that that's just my view of it. And so yeah, so that's it. Because I'm sure this person, I bet you also, love movies that involve problematic people, and you have found your own way of reconciling that or dealing with it.
mhm,
And so yeah. So please don't take like the moral high ground and be like, stop liking these movies.
mhm. Also, I
Like
feel like the worst thing about Top Gun: Maverick is, like, not that Tom Cruise is in it, and more that it's, like, an advertisement for the military. Um
yeah, I mean, there's that too. And honestly,
As
that is
someone who has seen Top Gun: Maverick and enjoyed it many times, I'm just saying, I feel like
oh, I think it's one of the best movies of the year. And I don't care about the Oscars, and I'm like, fuck yeah, Top Gun screenplay nomination, let's go, and Best Picture nomination.
Mhm.
But yeah, the military elements are honestly give me greater pause than
Yeah.
the Cruise personal life elements.
Mhm.
But um, but yeah. Anyway, people talk about this plenty. I have friends who are just like, I'm not going to watch that guy's movies. And look, that's for you to decide. Don't impose your moral standards about film viewing on me. So, anyway, but the thing is, regardless of what people think about Tom Cruise's weird cult that he's in,
Yeah.
um, he's in a lot of good movies that people like a lot, and putting him on those
Mhm.
graphics may have I mean, I don't know. For instance, one of the other images I sent you for the cameos one was
Mhm.
David Bowie in Zoolander,
Oh, well,
and I'm like,
yeah.
that also probably would have, like, made that one look really
Mhm.
good. It's like, oh, on the one side, we've got, like, David Bowie whipping off his sunglasses, looking awesome.
Mhm.
On the other side, it's, here's a French woman whose name, most people voting or not don't know. I mean, she looks cool.
Mhm.
In the movie, she's a part-time model.
Whoa.
Which honestly, I feel like the life of a part-time model in like 90s Paris. Watching that movie, I was like, this seems like the best existence in the world.
Yeah.
Just being hot, but and like being able to make kind of a living from like sometimes getting your photo taken, but it's not like
Hmm.
your entire life. Seems good. Anyway,
Yeah.
Three Colors trilogy, R.I.P. You're great. I honestly, I know people haven't seen those movies, but go seek them out. They're great.
Hmm.
And then we had Lego sequels up against Hacking, and Hacking could have been fun, but Lego sequels I think are just we're pretty much unstoppable until the end.
Yeah.
I will say some people complained as Lego sequels were moving forward that like,
Mm.
oh, it'll just be like there's nothing to say about these other than that, nostalgia makes money and they're all cash grabs. And I'm like, I think that's a pretty huge misreading of
Hmm.
these. There's so much to say about them. I mean, even going back, one thing I forgot about at first when I was like doing the little like write-up thing, like Psycho 2 might be the first Lego sequel,
Hmm.
as
I
in
didn't even know they made that.
they made a Psycho 3 as well. Because like Psycho came out in the 60s, and then
Hmm.
they made two more in the 80s that obviously Alfred Hitchcock did not direct.
Yeah. I was like,
Where like Norman Bates like gets out of the like mental institution and like moves back home. But like that's a wild idea. Like I think that
yeah.
people forget exists. And then you've got like, Martin Scorsese making The Color of Money, which is obviously not a cash grab. And then, everything from like Tron Legacy to Top Gun Maverick to like, I mean, the question of like how much does Mad Max Fury Road count? Considering that
Hmm.
it basically doesn't reference the other movies at all, and there's like no continuity in that franchise. And like the degree to which the approach of The Force Awakens has like affected the ways that other movies are made. And then like Blade Runner 2049, and that movie's like, take on the, I guess, on the Lego sequel format. I think there's a lot to dig into, and it's genuinely very interesting. And so, yeah, I think there's a lot more to say than like, oh, they're all cynical cash grabs, exploiting our nostalgia, because I don't think that's always the case. Anyway, R.I.P. Hacking.
Mhm.
That one could have been fun. But also, one thing I was relieved about when Hacking lost is
Mhm.
that I know there's a lot of hacking on TV shows like CSI and stuff like that. I'm
Yeah, the
like,
one with the two people on one keyboard.
which is great, but
Yeah.
also I'm like, how much TV would I have to like sift through to get to, the good stuff? So this makes it easier.
Mhm.
Anyway, then we had the rise and fall of 90s legal dramas versus Sight and Sound 2022, why Jean Dielman took first place. Once again, I'm not surprised that the European art house side lost.
Mhm.
Just like didn't even stand a chance there. Um, I did think that the Sight and Sound one could have been interesting. I know a lot of people haven't seen Jean Dielman. I hadn't seen it until, was it maybe December?
Mhm.
The IFC Center started playing it again after the list came out. But this video I looked at, like, it would be about more than just this one 3.5 hour long movie about a woman cleaning her house and cooking. There's also just like getting into the list itself and like what this means and the importance
Mhm.
of these big, these like, yeah, these big greatest movie of all time lists and why we care about them and do they matter. But the thing is, 90s legal dramas. I mean, Emma, you would
I
just
just
watch The
watched The
Firm,
Firm. Yeah. It was
and
bat shit. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm a
it's
huge gymnastics
awesome.
fan. So,
I mean, the thing is, like, there's so much going on in that movie, and then there's also the thing of, oh, Tom Cruise's character also can do gymnastics, and then he does gymnastics and
yeah.
kicks Wilford Brimley in the face.
And it's not just I thought when people said gymnastics that they were gonna mean just tumbling. He does like a kip. He's doing like high bar. Yeah. That's full
Yeah,
men's artistic gymnastics right there.
I'm assuming that that's a thing where like it must have been in the novel that like, oh, in college he'd been on the gymnastics team.
Yeah.
It seems so
They
random.
set it up so poorly. It's so funny. You're like, why is he flipping down the street out of nowhere? I don't know if that'll come back.
And it does.
It's like they like took a gun, put it in front of the camera, and went, and then didn't explain it, put it down, and then at the end, someone was like, "Oh, a gun!"
It's I love that movie. Like
Mhm.
unironically, I think that movie rules.
Yeah, no, I
It's like
loved it too.
I mean, it's so much fun. And then there's so many of these. It was like the wild thing in the 90s where there were just John Grisham adaptations, like this one guy cranking out so many books, and all of these directors being like, "Oh, I gotta get a Grisham," and
Gotta get a Grisham.
yeah, and I mean, like like Francis Ford Coppola made one. Joel Schumacher made Joel Schumacher alternated Batman movies with Grisham movies.
Two great
It
franchises.
was like The Client, Batman Forever, A Time to Kill, Batman and Robin. Um, Yeah, Robert Altman made one. Yeah, and then and they had I mean, Emma, are you aware that a movie called The Pelican Brief was a big hit?
No.
Yeah, it's got Julia Roberts in it. Isn't it
Wow.
Julia Roberts and Denzel? So legal dramas seem like a strong contender. I mean, especially like this kind of like, going back to like mid-budget adult dramas from the 90s, like,
Mhm.
we all miss those. And so I thought that might be a strong one. And then we had movies about making movies against Ernest. I thought, just based on the enthusiasm of some people, that Ernest really might be a strong contender. Also, if like Ernest, that's also like 90s nostalgia there. And then the thing is that became very clear is that basically people under 30 and people who are not from the US have no idea who Ernest is.
Not a
Uh
clue.
yeah, it's I haven't seen any of those movies since I was like maybe 12, but there was a period like in the 90s when, because they were Disney productions, I think Touchstone released them, and they would just play on like ABC like all the time. Because they were just like wacky family comedies, and there were a bunch of Ernest movies. He goes to camp. He goes to jail. He gets scared stupid. He saves Christmas. He maybe unfortunately goes to Africa. I honestly have no memory of Ernest Goes to Africa, but it's probably
I
not
can't
great.
I couldn't tell you. I have no memory of Ernest.
Yeah. But yeah, Jim Varney played Ernest. Jim Varney also famously was the voice of Slinky Dog in the Toy Story movies.
Oh.
Before he died too young. So I really was replaced in Toy Story 3. Anyway, I think Ernest could have been wild. Actually, for Matt's birthday a couple of years ago, no, in 2020, I gave him the DVD box set of all the Ernest movies.
That's
Yeah.
a good gift.
I think at wait. I'm realizing the last time uh so this was Matt's birthday is March 12th. Yeah, March 12th. And that was the day that I in 2020 went upstate to shoot a video, and then because then the pandemic hit
Oh,
and I got
yeah.
stuck for 5 months. The last time I saw Matt in person for 5 months, I gave him a DVD box set of the Ernest movies
Mhm.
and said happy birthday and then left.
Well,
And
I feel
then
like that's a great gift, especially right before pandemic hits, you know?
exactly, I hope you watch those over and over and over again.
You know,
Also
if
the
you'd
Ernest
given
movies.
me a box set of something, you know I would have been watching that over and over and over.
Oh, I know it. Maybe I should just do that. There are Spielberg box sets. There
Yeah.
may be Denzel box sets. Anyway,
Yeah.
Ernest, I'm sorry, that would have been a fun one. And
Mhm.
then this was the crazy one when we had Muppets versus superhero stuff.
Mhm.
And Muppets trashed it.
Yeah. What are Muppets if not superheroes pointed at the stars?
Exactly. And there's the I feel like I should one sec. Let me I'm gonna uh I'm doing something very important right now. One sec. This is relevant. It's relevant, I promise. I'm getting a clip loaded up that we can play. But yeah, that was, to me, that I genuinely, because superhero things just do so well, and like my videos about Batman have always performed really well. Um, I did have the thought of like, maybe like I don't know how this one will go. Like the superheroes might just like walk away with this whole thing, which I
Mhm.
hoped wouldn't happen, because I was like, that would be, you know, like a boring like outcome to this whole thing.
Yeah.
Um
What's a Muppet?
Well, it's not quite a mop, and it's not quite a puppet, but man. So to answer your question, I don't know.
I love this. Subscribe.
yeah, whoever put that clip up there added that. Anyway, so there you go. That's what a Muppet is. It's not quite a mop, not quite a mop, not quite a puppet. But yeah, Muppets just destroyed Batman here, and that's where I was like, ooh, they could win this whole thing if they can beat Batman. I don't know if anything
Like
can stop them.
every 2 months, someone gets a hit tweet that's like, "Wouldn't a movie be crazy good if everyone was Muppets except one guy?" I feel like that comes back all the time. So I was like, yeah, people love Muppets. I love Muppets.
You do, and you say that, and you are not sure if you've ever seen a Muppet movie.
I
But
look at those little guys and I think, yeah, who wouldn't like them?
but also, like, you grew up on Sesame Street.
Yeah, that's
And
one of the only TV shows I've ever seen. When asked where I lived as a child, I did say Sesame Street. It was not helpful to the teachers who were trying to figure out like where to return me.
And then you start singing, "Can you tell me how to get?"
Yeah,
How to
yeah.
get to Sesame Street. Well, the thing is, on Sesame Street, those are Muppets.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, Jim Henson like created all those guys. Like
And
that
I
is,
love those. So I guess I have seen many Muppets.
yeah.
I love Super Grover. I love Oscar the Grouch.
Some of the
I
best.
love Wormy.
Did you ever see Don't Eat the Pictures?
I don't think so.
Oh, we had a VHS of that when I was a kid. That was a Sesame Street movie
Oh.
made, I think, in the 80s. The premise is the Sesame Street gang is visiting the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and they get locked in overnight.
Hmm.
And Big Bird has this whole kind of odyssey with like Egyptian mythological gods and stuff like that. It's pretty wild. But then there's a big song, song 2 and with Cookie Monster called "Don't Eat the Pictures," where the title comes from. It's worth looking up on YouTube. The lyrics go like, "Don't eat the pictures, no, 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 don't eat the pictures when you're in the museum." Super Grover shows up in it. It's great. I have very
I was
fond
Super
memories.
Grover for Halloween once.
I saw the picture.
Yeah.
So we all love Muppets. And then over on the other side, we had Gore Verbinski versus what is the most New York movie? Gore totally won.
Mhm.
This is the thing. I was like, Gore could really do this.
Also, not everyone's from New York. Something
Exactly.
I forget.
Not every, but people still care about New York movies, even if they've never been to New York, because it's just like it's one of those cities that just, has been captured on film so many times.
Mhm.
Anyway, then this wasn't even like a contest. Godzilla just destroyed surprise cameos. Like, obviously, it was
Yeah.
Godzilla. I mean, I will say that one was closer than I expected.
Mhm.
Like, it's not like cameos were ever leading, but I was like, oh wow, it was like 50s to 40s, not like
Yeah.
70 to 30. And then and then I will say, like, video games stood no chance against Lego sequels. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then obviously it was round 2 I was starting to get like a little sad sometimes, where I was like, oh man, a lot of these seemed fun. 90s
Mhm.
legal dramas. I guess no video games for Patrick this year. Movies about making
We have
I
to
will
find a
say,
Muppets video game for you.
I'm sure they exist.
Yeah.
Just
My friend was telling me about Muppets comics.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, I will say, so as I was kind of rooting for Gore Verbinski, I think just because after years of seeing him lose in Blank Check March Madness, I was like, I want to see him win something. I still don't have a take on a Gore Verbinski video, and I don't think he's the kind of guy like Zemeckis or Coppola, where it's like, oh, you just go through the whole film. Like the filmography is like a narrative that you just follow through. Like it's not really like that. I'd still love to find an excuse for a video, but I haven't figured out a take yet.
Yeah.
I think if I had, I would have made it by now. And then, I mean, then we had finally the crazy matchup of Godzilla versus Muppets. I will say the thing about this is the one, you know, I would have been totally fine with Godzilla winning. I kind of figured from the start that Godzilla would win.
Yeah.
There are so many Godzilla movies to watch. And so the one thing about this is like is that I was like, well, there are not nearly as many Muppet movies as Godzilla movies. I don't think so. Now I'm gonna look up Godzilla.
We begin our research.
Yeah, for this thing that I'm not there. Okay. Oh, holy shit. There are more Godzilla movies than I realized. Oh my god, there are so many.
How many are there?
In terms of just Japanese Godzilla movies, there are 32. And then there are 4 American ones.
Wow.
Yeah, there are Godzilla Raids Again, King Kong versus Godzilla, Mothra versus Godzilla, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, Invasion of Astro Monster, Abira, Horror of the Deep, Son of Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters Attack, Godzilla versus Hedorah, Godzilla versus Gigan, Godzilla versus Megalon, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, Terror of Mechagodzilla. Anyway, that's only the first 15.
Is that like a Megalodon type monster?
Probably.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything for sure because I don't know, but
yeah. And now you'll never find out. Sadly.
I will never find out. Oh no. No, actually, oh holy shit. Megalon does not look like Megalodon. Wow. He looks he's kind of like a big insect.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's a slight relief there in that I don't have to. It's kind of like the thing about the video games one where it's like that would just be so much time that I had to spend watching things. And so I guess that's a bit of a relief because not as many Muppet movies. And then Verbinski beat movies about making movies. I guess, people look as much.
A little sad because I'd love to hear like more people talk about the Souvenir, or Souvenir Part 2. But
I still have to see the Souvenir Part 2. I've seen Part 1.
You do have to.
And I've seen Eternal Daughter.
I just saw that.
I know.
It was good.
Which is basically the Souvenir Part 3.
Yeah. Someone in the Discord was like, did you know it's like in a trilogy? I was like, really? And then I found out that the main character's name was the same name as the main character of the Souvenir movies. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And it's also Tilda Swinton is still the mom, and the timeline matches up. And I like the idea that Tilda Swinton's daughter ages into Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Joanna Hogg works with a lot of same actors again and again, which is cool.
As in Tilda Swinton and
Tom Hiddleston. He's in 3 of her movies. So he's in Unrelated, the show. I don't remember what it's called. It's about an apartment. And he's in Archipelago, which is my favorite Hogg film.
And
I'm a real Hoghead.
You are. That was when I saw the Eternal Daughter at the Metrograph in December, and Martin Scorsese did a Q&A with Joanna Hogg after the movie. And
I love that he supports her movies so much.
He's like an executive producer on all of them.
Yeah.
He's like, I watched this like 30 times. I watched all the you sent me all the cuts, and I gave notes on them, stuff like that. But he talked at length at the meeting about how he was introduced to her work through Archipelago, and about
Yeah.
how apparently at first he when the first time he watched it, he kind of like he was like in production on something else, like I don't know, like
Mhm.
Shutter Island or something. And I think he was like something. He was like, it was like at first I wasn't into it. And it was like annoying me, and then I went back and watched and like continued watching it, and I fell in love with it. I'm
Yeah.
not doing a good Marty
No,
impression.
that's a great Marty impression. It's like Marty's here in this room, this stream room with us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But
Official plug though. I think everyone should watch Archipelago. I don't think everyone will like it, but I think that everyone should see it.
so actually, Emma, here's a question for you.
Mhm.
You say that Joanna Hogg is your favorite working director.
Mhm.
What other working directors have you seen? I guess 5 or more movies of, because I know you have a lot of favorite working actors.
Yeah, I do a lot of actor stuff. Part of it is because historically I don't know who any actors are, so it's kind of exciting for me to start to actually figure out the names of people.
Right.
Um,
I'm just curious, like who else would be in contention
I
for
mean,
like favorite?
Lulu Wang, I really like her work. I've only seen 2 of her films though, so
She is another movie.
I've seen one of her shorts. She also has another she has another feature, but I haven't seen it. But she has a film called Touch. It's a short film. It's pretty good. I don't know, Nolan, I guess. I've seen
I mean, that makes sense.
yeah. I'd have to look. I've seen a lot of Miyazaki's. So I really love his work.
And he is working.
Yeah,
He was retired,
shockingly, he
and now
is
he's
working.
working.
I would say he's my favorite retired director. I guess maybe he is my favorite working director, but you know.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not trying to put you on the spot and
No,
be
it's
like, Emma,
okay.
list all your favorites.
I'll check my letterbox stats or something.
Exactly. I mean, your most watched director will be like Oliver Stone.
Yeah. Well, because what I think is I might have directors whose individual films I like a lot, etc. But like Joanna Hogg is one where I really appreciate the direction. Like Tony Scott's another one where I'm like, oh, you can tell like not to, I really, really like what they bring to the films.
Mhm.
Especially when Tony Scott's working with a script I don't like with True Romance. I still really loved what he did with it, despite hating that script. So, that kind of thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I noticed Joanna Hogg's direction and I really like it.
That makes sense. Okay, where were we? Oh yeah. So anyway, movies about making movies, Lost. So I'm not talking about Joanna Hogg.
Sad.
Sorry.
Next, I'm going to suggest movies
so-
about rich British people having a disappointing vacation. Archipelago will take it all the way.
Yeah. We should do a bracket only of movies about rich British people on vacations. And I don't know. A Bigger Splash could do it.
Mm.
Have you seen A Bigger Splash?
Nope.
You know who's in it?
Who?
Tilda Swinton.
She's very, if you want to cast someone who's like rich, white, British, Tilda's like, she's very good at it.
Yeah, that movie's good. It's Tilda Swinton also doesn't, her character has lost her voice in the movie and just doesn't talk from, Ralph Fiennes talks a lot in it. Yeah, it's got like Ralph Fiennes, Dakota Johnson, some more people. It's by Luca Guadagnino. It's the movie he made before Call Me by Your Name.
I really want to see Bones and All.
I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Verbinski moved forward. And then this is where it just kind of became clear. Our semifinals. Godzilla, despite having maybe the most passionate fans, could not beat the Muppets. The little green frog beat the big green lizard. And then, yeah, I mean, and Verbinski, he had his fans, but Lego sequels was just, I think because I wonder what the Lego sequels conversation would have been like if it weren't for Maverick this past year. Being in many ways, like arguably the best example of like what these can be.
Yeah.
And being, basically the biggest movie of the year. And so, yeah, it was like, I know some people, like, obviously people will always complain about how these go. I love when people who aren't in the Patreon would complain. And I'd be like, if you wanted to maybe influence this in a different direction, you totally could have. You can't complain about how a thing that you didn't take part in.
Yeah, message me. I could Venmo you $2. That offer's open to one person,
one person,
maybe two, depending on how my day's going.
But also, it's too late for that now.
Yeah, it's true.
You'll have to wait until the TTToTTF, which may not happen. Who knows? And then, I kind of figured once, like, the semifinals seemed like the most intense matchups. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
some of these were pretty close for a while. Like, I think early on, like, somewhere they were like kind of neck and neck, and then people kind of like pulled out into the lead. And then Muppets just walked away with the victory.
Yeah.
That was it. And so a thing that people have asked me a lot is, why don't you combine topics or make all of them? And
that wouldn't be in the spirit of the bracket.
It wouldn't. It's like one. That's the thing. One is gonna win, and then I'll make it. That's how it goes. I will say, because I picked all of these are all video topics that I would have been fine with making and would have fun making. Maybe at some point, I'll I don't know, get bored or get inspired by one of these and decide to turn it into a video. But no, I'm not just gonna like make everything, make everyone happy. It's like there can only be one victor. So yeah, I don't know if actually, yeah, I don't want to say any more because I'm like, I don't want to say like hypothetical things. Like, I don't know, maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll make a Patreon goal.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible. But for right now, we have so many videos lined up for the next like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And Muppets will have
good topics.
We got good topics coming up. I'm excited about these. And so yeah, don't worry, everyone. You'll be fine. You'll get lots of entertainment. Also, people who signed up for the Patreon to vote in this, please don't immediately leave. We like you here. If you're not in the Discord,
you've been having a great time in the Discord recently.
There's been so much nice conversation, especially with all the new people that have come in.
Yeah.
It's a good community. Yeah, it costs you what, $2 a month?
It's less if you buy it for the year, I think.
It is. It is extremely cheap. It is money that you won't even notice that you've spent because it's basically nothing. So anyway, that's the end of TTToTTT. I always want to say the TTT of TTT.
Yeah.
But
someone pointed it out. They were like,
the first T is the. Yeah. I've been very careful about that. Let's throw this back on. So it's just us again.
Yeah.
Emma, were there any that you were rooting for?
I was pretty excited for Muppets. After I saw The Firm, I was like, oh, these are fun. I don't know. I mean, I was obviously like, I would have been excited about Lego sequels just because I've seen 2 of them, so I know a bit.
Yeah, I'm wondering, are there others you've seen?
I've seen Mad Max Fury Road if you're gonna count it. If you're not, then no.
And you've seen The Force Awakens, right?
Oh yeah. I have. I haven't seen the one it's based on, but I haven't seen Tron either.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Tron is that I wish I loved the original Tron. I also wish I loved Tron Legacy, but it's very funny to me that they made Tron Legacy. It's one of these classic cases. It's honestly the same thing happened with Blade Runner 2049, which I think is an actually great movie.
Tron Legacy, that's the one, it has the Stick It guy, right? The coach from Stick It.
Emma, you can't say something like that and expect me to know what you mean.
Sorry, Jeff Bridges? I think.
Jeff Bridges is in Stick It?
I think so. I can't be sure that's his name. I'm sorry, Jeffs run together. Jeff Bridges. I'm just looking at what he looks like. Yeah. He's the main coach in the movie Stick It. A great movie.
Wow.
Is he in Tron Legacy?
Yeah, he's also in the original Tron.
That's why I liked it as a kid. You're like, oh, Emma, you saw Tron Legacy, you enjoyed it. It had the guy from Stick It.
It, you know, I think that this is the first time Jeff Bridges has ever been. Sorry, I think this is the first time Academy Award winner, beloved, iconic actor Jeff
He
Bridges
has a what?
has ever been referred to as the guy from Stick It.
He's great in Stick It.
He's always great.
Yeah. Well, Stick It's a great movie.
I have not seen it. I have heard it's good. Oh yeah, wow,
From
Jeff
me.
Bridges. I'm looking at the poster. His name is over the title on the
Oh
poster.
yeah, no, he's
not on the
the
poster.
second lead. Well, there's only the main character on the poster generally, and then like her teammates or whatever. But like he's the coach.
Yeah.
And you know how sports movies are with the coach.
Oh yeah. Wow. Well, I hope you see more Jeff Bridges movies at some point.
Yeah.
You know, he's
So I can start calling him the Tron guy.
Well, I mean, the Tron movies are not his best movies.
I'll find some good ones other than Stick It.
You know, you ever heard of The Big Lebowski?
I've heard of it.
He's the star of it.
Is he the Lebowski?
He's a Lebowski. The thing about The Big Lebowski is there's multiple people named Lebowski in it. But his character is named the Dude.
That's a great name. That was my Picto Chat name and my Nintendo DS back in the day. It was just
really?
Dude. Yeah.
It's man, I really want you to see Jeff Bridges' movie. It's fun because in like the 70s and 80s, he was like a really like kind of handsome guy with like kind of
Was
like.
he ever in a Kilm?
Wouldn't you know this by now?
I don't think he was in any Kilms.
I don't think he was.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically he was like this like really kind of like, you know, like cool, like kind of dashing guy.
Mhm.
And now he's in like the 2000s, he's been in this era of his career where like he like kind of he's like this, he's always like a beard and he like just talks in this really gravelly voice.
Yeah.
And like he's the villain in the first Iron Man.
Oh yeah.
He's the very first
Obadiah?
Marvel villain. Oh, you've seen that.
I saw that in when I was trying to watch all the Marvel movies and failed deeply.
And he's in one of the ones that actually looks like visually looks good.
Yeah.
It's shot by Matthew Libatique.
Matthew Libatique, who I enjoy. I love his work.
You know, he's the guy who shouts, was like, Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps. It's he's Jeff Bridges rules. Oh, the thing what I was gonna say about Tron is that the original Tron was not a hit. It was a cult movie that had like at the time like pioneering visual effects, but was not a hit. And same thing with the original Blade Runner, not a hit. People didn't even really like Blade Runner until the director's cut was released.
Interesting.
In,
I really love the
90s.
book that it's based on.
Oh, I've never read the book.
It's a really good book.
It's very different.
Yeah, it's quite different.
But with both of these cases, it's like because Tron became like a cult movie, and then Blade Runner became this kind of beloved, both like cult movie and like kind of just like, you know, cinema classic. Then the studios in the 2000s were like, oh well, people talk about it online a lot. I guess it has a huge fan base now, and they made really expensive sequels for both. And it turned out, oh yeah, no, these don't really actually have a big fan base. It was always pretty small, and they're not blockbusters. You can't be like, oh yeah, Tron, as if normal people like love Tron, because they don't, and they never did. Like Blade Runner has always been a niche thing. It's silly to spend $150 million on a new one. Like I remember walking out of that theater like opening night being like, I loved it. I bet it's gonna make no money this weekend. And I was right. So yeah. Anyway, but Jeff Bridges did come back for Tron Legacy, and Tron Legacy does do the weird thing where it like there's two Jeff Bridges in it.
Yeah.
Because one of them is like an evil computer version, and he's like de-aged, and it looks kind of his face looks plasticky.
Yeah.
Anyway. The moral of the story is I'm excited for you to see more Jeff Bridges movies. Emma, I'm just excited for you to see movies.
I know. I am too. I've been trying to do at least like 3 new like non-rewatches a week. And then and if I hit that, then I'm like, okay, and I can rewatch as many as I want.
You can. Man, I just wish I had time to watch that many movies.
I know. It's really great being looking like being on the job hunt right now, like for more employment, because I have a lot of time and I'm enjoying it.
How are you like determining your new movies, as in like new to you movies?
Well, with Oscars came out, that just reminded me that movies came out this year, so I watched Marcel and Eternal Daughter. Then I've got some friends in this, like the the lesbians for Val Kilmer chat that I'm in. So we've been watching some cruise movies in there, like late at night. I don't know. It's basically
I
if
mean,
anyone's like, oh, you want to see this movie? I'll be like, yeah. Like I saw the Lord of the Rings ones because people invited me and I adored them. And now I've seen all 3 of them like twice.
I love that.
Mhm.
Those are great movies. That I also love that you saw them on the big screen.
Yes. And on Discord.
Yeah, it's just like if you only how big is the window on Discord that you watch it in?
Well, okay, I don't actually watch it on Discord. I watch it on Cosme, which is like a free sharing app. I guess probably about this big.
Okay. It's because like, Lord of the Rings are like big, sweeping,
Yeah.
epic movies that like
I'm happy I saw them on the big screen.
oh yeah.
Um,
Well, this is why, like Siddhant and I have told you that if you watch like
I said if I watch Titanic on Discord, that you will throw yourself into the Hudson.
yes. Like that would be unacceptable. It's like
Mhm.
that's the thing. Some of these things like, oh, like Steven Spielberg movies or James Cameron movies and stuff like that. It's like, it big screen if you can, but like
Mhm.
if nothing else, at least a television.
I can't hang with my besties with the television there. Like,
Well, some movies you don't have to
yeah,
talk
such
to your
as the
besties
Doors.
during the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't do it for every movie.
Right. Of course.
Usually I do it for rewatches of things I've already seen on the TV.
Oh yeah. And that's, I think a totally cool way to do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, I
Oh,
wish
it's been an hour and
I
11
wish
minutes.
I wish we had the time to do like a podcast about
Yeah.
you discovering these movies where I just like show things to you and then we talk
Mhm.
about them. But I don't have time to do that. So
No. Sorry to everyone who was asking for that. Patrick is extremely busy.
yeah.
As much as I may be only a part-time employee, Patrick does work a lot.
It is true. I actually we should end this because I have to finish the new video
Mm.
and get it out. Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, yeah, we've been going for a while.
Yeah,
We we always talk too much.
I know.
It's a problem. Anyway, in the end, what I want to say is thank you everyone for all your just enthusiasm and like really
Yeah.
wonderful participation for
Mhm.
TTToTTT. This was a wacky idea I had at some point last year. To be like, what if as I may have said before, I just stole this idea from when I was talking to my friend Matt Kroll, who runs Extra
Mhm.
Credits, and he was like, "Yeah, on our Patreon, people can like submit topics and then like vote on them." And I was like, "Ooh, that's a good
Yeah.
idea." And then Emma was like, "What if we made it a bracket?" And I was like, "Ooh, that does sound fun." And so many new people joined and took part in this and got really
Mhm.
excited about it, and it was really fun to see. I'm also glad we did this in a month that was like where we didn't like it was like a
Yeah.
quiet month
Yeah, we were gonna do it,
in
around
December.
Super Bowl time. Thanksgiving time.
Yeah.
But then we didn't end up doing that because we had a lot of other stuff going on. Pay no attention to when I thought the Super Bowl was.
Nope. Not important.
Not important.
But yeah, this was great. And guys, I'm looking forward to making a Muppet movie.
Yeah.
And by Muppet movie, I mean a Muppet video. A Muppet video about Muppet movies.
Watch it
Also,
end up being feature length.
who knows? Also, one thing I would say, like, people keep being like, "Oh wow, a Muppet video surely will mean that like we'll have like Patrick will be a Muppet in the video, or maybe like all the characters will be Muppets." And I'm like, guys, how big do you think our Muppet budget is? Like, those cost money to make. I don't know. Should we? I don't know if I should say this here. I will say it here. Should we like make a Patreon goal that's like now that the Muppet
Make a
video is
Patrick
confirmed,
Muppet.
like if we reach this goal that will basically cover the budget of it,
Yeah.
there will be a Patrick Muppet in the Muppet video.
I say do it.
I mean, that's the thing. Like this is like I feel like that's enough like control to give people. It's
Mhm.
like this is kind of to me like when we did the Coppola wine thing where it was like, look, if you want this to happen, you got to join the Patreon to cover the budget
Yeah.
of this. And so yeah, we'll figure out the behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, we'll put on there as a goal that if we reach this point, then I'll be a Muppet in the video.
Mhm.
I think that'll be fun. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Also on Twitter, friend of the show, Griffin Newman, did say that if Muppets wins, he insists on being in the video, and so Muppets won. So
There he
Griffin
comes. Here he comes.
Griffin will be in there somewhere.
Yeah. Hi,
Again,
Griffin.
I don't know what the video will be, so I don't know what he'll do in there, but yeah, it is now public that you know,
A surprise cameo.
Griffin will be in the video, and could make a surprise cameo. I don't think it'll be a surprise now that we've.
Well, yeah, but you know,
yeah,
just I'm trying to make the surprise cameo fans happy.
exactly. Well, the thing is, Emma,
Mhm.
Muppet movies are full of surprise cameos.
It's true. James McAvoy, other people.
Yeah, that's the thing. People, they just like walk around the park, and then people just show up all the time. That's part of the way the Muppet movies go.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, maybe we'll have. Oh god! Oh, now I started thinking like, oh god, do we have to now have a bunch of surprise cameos
I don't think so.
in this video? Oh god!
People can reach out to whoever if you want to have a surprise cameo.
Yeah. All we're gonna say is that Griffin will make a not surprise cameo in the
Mhm.
video, and that we'll have a Patreon goal to see if people really want me to be a Muppet in the video. That's what we can say. So, Year of Muppets. Congratulations to the Muppet franchise, the
Woo!
gang, and sorry to all the good ideas who were just thrown on the trash pile, who were just discarded, and that we'll never mention again.
Our
That's a
deep
joke.
apologies.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you everyone. Thank you, Emma, for making all those graphics and getting everything
Yeah.
ready. And
You're welcome.
this was great. Yeah. Okay, I got a video to finish.
Yeah.
Bye everyone.